All right, let's talk about Spain. But we're going to explore a totally different side of it today. So forget everything you think you know about the sun-drenched costas, because we're heading north. This whole explainer is about what it really takes for a family to move to the lush green landscapes of northern Spain. We're going to cover the dream, the reality, and the practical steps to actually make it happen. So let's jump right in.
So let's start with the big question, the one that probably brought you here. Are you dreaming of swapping those crowded, hot beaches for cool, green, rolling hills? Are you looking to trade that frantic daily rush for a life that's, well, just lived at a more human pace? If you're nodding your head right now, you are definitely in the right place. This is the exact feeling we're going to unpack today.
You know, this dream actually has a name, Green Spain. And for so many families, it's not just about a change of scenery. It represents a huge shift in priorities. It's a conscious choice to move away from the tourist-heavy lifestyle and towards something more grounded, more authentic, and way more connected to nature.
So what's the pull, really? Well, for a lot of people, it's the appeal of a cooler climate, which, after years of scorching summers, sounds amazing. It's about being surrounded by nature, becoming part of a real community, and just finally escaping those tourist traps for a more traditional Spanish experience. This is the why that gets so many families thinking about a move north.
But, you know, every dream has to face reality, right? And being prepared for the practical side of things is absolutely the key to a successful move. So now, let's get real and look at the pros and the cons.
And here it is, pretty much in a nutshell. On one hand, the good stuff is incredible. It's super safe, it's very family-focused, you've got great public health care and schools, and an amazing outdoor lifestyle. But on the other hand, you have to be ready for the challenges. Yeah, that famously wetter climate is no joke. There are way fewer international schools than in the South, and you've really got to speak Spanish to integrate. It's not for everyone, and it's so important to be honest about that from the get-go.
And that brings us to this really crucial point, which is summed up perfectly by this quote. This is not a plug-and-play destination. What does that mean? It means you can't just show up and expect life to function exactly as it did back home. This is a place for families who are genuinely ready to adapt, to integrate, and to embrace a whole new way of living.
Okay, so if you're up for that challenge, where do you even begin? Because northern Spain isn't just one place. It's 4 totally distinct regions, and each one offers a unique lifestyle. Finding the right fit for your family, well, that's everything.
Think of this table as your cheat sheet. It breaks down the 4 main regions at a glance. So if you're looking for an easier transition, you're probably looking at Cantabria. If you want to be deep in nature and live a quieter life, check out Asturias. For affordability and real authenticity, Galicia is a standout. And if you need a modern, high-quality lifestyle with more jobs, but you have a bigger budget, then you've got the Basque Country. Let's just touch on what makes each one special.
First up, Cantabria. If you want that northern lifestyle, but with a good mix of convenience and services, you know, a bit of a softer landing, Cantabria is often the answer, especially around its capital, Santander. It just strikes a really great balance between that stunning coastline and a manageable city life. But if your family is like, nope, we want to go all in on nature and a truly quiet life, then Asturias is probably calling your name. It's famous for having the Picos de Europa mountains practically crashing into the sea. This region is for those who are ready for full integration and just want to be surrounded by some of the most dramatic landscapes in all of Spain.
Next, Galicia. For families where budget and authenticity are the absolute top priorities, this is often the spot. Its lower cost of living comes from a more rural economy. You get a powerful local culture, unbelievable food, and it's the most affordable way to get into green Spain. As long as you're ready for its deeply local feel and, yes, an even wetter climate.
And finally, you've got the Basque Country. You can almost think of it as northern Spain with a bit more polish. It's got a strong, very distinct economy, amazing infrastructure, and a world-famous food scene. It's ideal for families who need that structure. But, and it's a big but, it definitely comes with the highest price tag in the north.
Okay, so maybe you've got a region in mind. Great. But now we have to get down to the nitty-gritty. We're talking about the non-negotiables, the things that can literally make or break a family's move, no matter which region you're leaning towards.
And the first one is a biggie. I cannot stress this enough. Schooling. Unlike the south of Spain, your international school options up here are really limited. And what that means is your choice of school will almost certainly decide which town or city you can live in. Seriously, this has to be the very first thing you research, long before you start looking at houses.
And what about work?
Right, let's talk about the financial reality here. The families who really succeed and thrive in northern Spain, they typically are not looking for local jobs. They bring their income with them, either through remote work or because they're financially independent. Trying to rely on the local job market, that is a very, very risky strategy.
So all of this really boils down to the most important question you can ask. Before you get lost in the logistics and the spreadsheets, just take a step back and ask, what does our family truly want from this? What are our core non-negotiable values?
This is where you've got to be brutally honest with yourselves. You need to sit down as a family and just answer some of these tough questions. Are we looking for a ready-made expat community, or are we really up for full integration? Is being surrounded by nature more important than having a big supermarket just around the corner? Your answers are what will point you to the right region, or hey, they might even tell you that northern Spain isn't the right fit at all, and that's okay too.
So, with all this info swirling around in your head, how do you actually pull it all together and make the right call? This is about taking that dream and turning it into a successful reality with a concrete plan.
First, let's talk about what not to do. These are the classic, and often expensive, mistakes we see families make time and time again. Choosing a region that looks amazing on Instagram but just doesn't fit your daily life. Not being truly prepared for the amount of rain. Or realizing way too late that there are no schools that work for your kids nearby. These are exactly the kinds of pitfalls you want to avoid.
So here's the roadmap for getting it right. It's really a simple 4-step process. First, compare the regions based on your actual needs, not just pretty pictures. Second, make sure your expectations line up with what it's really like on the ground. Third, start out your schooling options before you fall in love with a house. And finally, and this one is so important, don't try to figure all this out by yourself. Get advice from people who've actually been through it.
Because at the end of the day, that's the real key, isn't it? A move this big requires more than just a few Google searches. It requires honest, experience-based guidance to help you understand all the little details of each region. That's how you avoid those costly mistakes and find a place where your family isn't just surviving, but actually thriving. The source material for this explainer actually points to a consultation service designed for this exact purpose, to connect you with that on-the-ground knowledge.
So we'll leave you with this final question. Now that you've seen the dream, the reality, and the roadmap, what is the right first step for your family? Is it digging into more research? Is it having that big family meeting to answer those tough questions? Or maybe it's reaching out for some expert guidance to help you on your journey. Whatever it is, just know your adventure begins with that one well-informed step.